Okay, let's talk about the supermarkets now. It looks like there will be an inquiry looking at price gouging and cartel-like activity with the big supermarkets. Do you welcome this inquiry?
Well, I do, but it's really a bit of window dressing. We've been calling for some time for a price monitoring inquiry, not by politicians, but by the ACCC, to really get in underneath the bonnet of the practices of the big two Australian supermarkets and the big German, to make sure that Australian consumers, but also suppliers, particularly farmers, are being protected. We saw a 70% reduction in beef and sheep prices from June, and yet we've only seen an 8% reduction at the checkout. Someone's cleaning up, and that's Coles, Woolworths and the big German. That's who's cleaning it up. And so we need the ACCC to be the tough cop on the beat. And this Senate inquiry, doesn't actually compel the CEOs to turn up. They get invited. Whereas an ACCC price monitoring inquiry would compel the CEOs to turn up. It could be started. It should have already been started, and we could have actually had outcomes before Christmas, not after Christmas. And the Agriculture Minister's saying put a price hike on ham. Well, it's a little bit more than just ham, Murray. If you were in touch with the challenges of this cost of living crisis, you understand it's broader than just ham. When you look at the horticulture sector being done over. I mean, watermelons, they're getting about $1 a kilogram, yet Coles and Woolworths are charging $3 to $4. Now, they don't need processing. Yeah. They just go on the back of a truck from the paddock and end up in the supermarket. They are cleaning up. So we need new powers, and I welcome a broader review into competition policy, and I agree with Alan Fells that we should have divestiture powers on these supermarkets. We should have an independent arbiter that is cheap for suppliers as well to be able to have access to, because they very much fear retribution if they say anything bad about Coles and Woolworths, in that because they have such strong suppliers, 74% of the market, then they may be spurned. So this is where we need reform, and I've made it clear to Andrea Lee, the Competition Minister, that the Nationals have long wanted divestiture powers. We want big penalties, not $64,000 under the Grocery Code, but now $10 million starting as the starting price and going up for any offence, as well as those divestiture powers. We've done this to the energy sector. We've had big stick legislation. Let's do it for the supermarkets. And if they think and they say they're doing the right thing, well, they have nothing to fear. And the CEOs of these supermarkets should come out and welcome better regulatory reform around them, so they can prove their innocence if they think they are so innocent. But instead, those CEOs have gone into hiding.
Well, just quickly on this, I have noticed that the big supermarkets create their own brands for commonly bought goods, and then they seem to be much cheaper than their competitors. Is that one thing that concerns you?
As well as the way in which they deal, particularly with suppliers, small family suppliers. They actually go and start their own line, and they ask farmers to make big capital outlays to actually buy properties and make investment, and then they simply tear them down or take away those contracts, and these farmers are left without being able to supply the product that they've been asked to produce. So it's unconscionable conduct. It's been going on for some time. There's too much power, and it's time. That's when a government should interfere in a marketplace, when there is a market imbalance, power imbalance, and even Alan Fells agrees. So I think it's time, and we'll be supportive of any changes the government wanted to make on that. We don't need an inquiry. We just need to get on with the job.